Hello, my name is Giesen, and this is my latest Chimps Freeplay run. This run was performed in versions 45, 49 and 52. The reason why I ran those versions is because version 45 allows for way more money earned from the rounds, and then version 49 transitions me from 45 to 52 in a natural way with good discounts. And version 52 has the broken ice paragon, which will allow me to reach deep rounds in Freeplay. It took me around 4 months to finish this run, starting in middle of March roughly, and ending about the same time in July. When I started this run, I set out with 2 goals in mind. The first one was to afford the Ninja Paragon for its permanent Grand Sab ability. The second one was to test DPS temples in Chimps. Before I get into the run, I would like to talk about what I decided to classify as early, mid and late game. I have decided to classify early game as everything up until your first solid stall. In my case it would be the Master Bomber, but it's very common that it's the Bloom Crush instead. After that we have the mid game, which is from the point you get your first stall up until the time you afford your true Sun God. And then everything after that is late game. I decided to group them like this because there are 3 major parts of the game that all differ greatly in how they're played. In the early game you want to focus on regrowth farming and getting your temples down basically. In the mid game you want to start with your first major save ups, and you want to focus a lot on reducing the amount of money you spend on defenses, as you don't want to overspend before you get your true Sun God up. And then late game is basically everything after that. Now let's talk about the run. I started with the same regrowth farm I always do, just accounting for some version differences, straight into my main temple. I also give it 50k worth of magic sacrifices, something I normally don't do. And the reason is that it's less efficient than just getting ninjas for the same amount of money. But 50k worth of magic sacrifices is not that much compared to the extra amount of money I will earn from version 45. And I will also have a better setup once everything is finished. After all, the magic sacrifices don't take up any extra space, so they are incredibly space efficient. After getting a small ninja setup up and running, I begin building a PMFC army to the left. This is because when I buy the Ninja Paragon, I'm gonna lose all of the DPS from my ninjas, and the PMFC is gonna carry me until I get a new ninja army set up. I also get an S-champ to supplement the PMFC that will get sacrificed to a new support temple once I switch to version 52. The reason I went for the PMFC instead of Megalodon like Chinman did in his run is because the PMFC allows me to stay in version 45 for longer. He had to switch to version 46 because the Megalodon would not do enough damage in version 45 or 44 as he was running. But I could stay in version 45 and keep earning a lot of money past the point of getting the Ascended Shadow, and therefore making the Herald of Femboywinter and the TSG save ups easier. Now enjoying the time lapse, and I will be back towards the end to talk about some mistakes I made along the way and what I would do differently if I were to do this again. Enjoy. This run ended far earlier than I had originally planned. The reason why is because the temples sacrificing quite a large area around them, so I was not able to finish my ninja setup. Therefore, the entire defense lacked a lot of DPS and made every round a struggle. Now, I could have tried to get the temples before paragons, but the temples are not space efficient enough without putting other towers in their footprints. The temples also deal a good amount of damage to the stall, resulting in less ultra boost stacks and sometimes the black hole not being available when needed. Because of these two reasons, I personally don't believe temples can be used on logs, and from what I've heard, they are not very good on spa pits either. The only reason why I considered them was because ninjas are not very good behind the logs. Temples, of course, being able to ignore line of sight blockers could possibly be used there. The lack of DPS made it so I had to replay almost every round 5 to 10 times, and some of the hard ones up to 20 times, and with every attempt taking around 1 hour because of lag, you could see how time quickly starts adding up. I decided to end the round after round 562. There is no reason other than that I just don't want to play this run anymore. Round 563, although difficult, is technically beatable, and the rounds after should not be much of an increase in difficulty. And once the last DPS temple is up, it should be smooth sailing from there. Well, as smooth as Chimps Freeplay can be. This run would be a world record if I were to submit it to the leaderboards. But I've grown to hate it so much that I refuse to do so, and I don't want this shitfest to be my best one on there. Besides, I have already clogged up the Chimps category with all my runs. To those of you who dislike this choice of mine, I promise to make it up to you by doing another run. One run without any disappointments. One run with even better strats. One run to rule them all. Thank you and goodbye.